Germany has experienced significant terrorism in its history, particularly during the Weimar Republic and during the Cold War, carried out by far-left and far-right German groups as well as by foreign terrorist organizations. In recent years, both far-left, far-right and Islamist violence has resurged and groups have been suspected of terrorism or terrorism plans. Germany's loss in the First World War resulted in a chaotic situation, with multiple far-left and far-right organizations attempting to seize power. Both the far-left and the far-right organized their own militias and carried out assassinations. For example, the Foreign Minister Walther Rathenau was assassinated in 1922 by a far-right group. Members of the Communist Party of Germany assassinated police captains Paul Enlauf and Franz Lenk in Berlin in 1931. Turkish and Kurdish Islamist groups are also active in Germany, and Turkish and Kurdish Islamists have cooperated in Germany, as in the case of the Sauerland terror cell. Political scientist Guido Steinberg stated that many top leaders of Islamist organizations in Turkey fled to Germany in the 2000s, and that the Turkish or Turks before 2006, the German Islamist scene was dominated by Iraqi Kurds and Palestinians. But since 2006, Kurds from Turkey and Turks are dominant. According to a research conducted by the Abba Aban Institute as part of an initiative called Cengiz Initiative, Shiite clans in Germany are involved in organized crime and are specifically supporting Hezbollah. Since 2010, 15 people have died in Islamic terrorist attacks in Germany and an additional 74 have been injured. There is also a number of violent incidents which are disputed to either have been conducted by lone wolf Islamic terrorists or by mentally ill people. In 2015, 11 verdicts concerning jihadist terrorism-related offenses were issued by German courts. In 2016, 28 verdicts for jihadist terrorism-related offenses were delivered. In 2017, there were 27 verdicts. Almost all known terrorist networks and individuals in Germany have links to Salafism, an ultra-conservative Islamic ideology. During the Cold War, especially in the 1970s, West Germany experienced severe terrorism, mostly perpetrated by far-left terrorist groups and culminating in the German Autumn of 1977. The country's most serious national crisis in post-war history. Terrorist incidents also took place in the 1980s and 1990s. Some of the terrorist groups had connections to international terrorism, notably Palestinian militant groups, and were aided and abetted by the communist regime of East Germany. Munich, Nuremberg, Heilbronn, Dortmund, Rostock, Kassel plotted to assassinate the Prime Minister of Iraq during his visit to Germany. In December 2019, German authorities reported to have thwarted 9 Islamic terrorist plots since the 2016 Berlin truck attack. Among these, the terrorism of the 1970s has formed Germany's political culture and its policy of not negotiating with terrorists. It also led to the formation of the GSG-9 counterterrorism unit. In 1972, a law was passed, the Extremist Act, which banned radicals or those with a questionable political persuasion from public sector jobs. In 2019, the Federal Criminal Police Office created a department dedicated towards Islamic terrorism and extremism. Traditionally, counter-terrorist organizations in Germany have been slower to respond to extreme right-wing groups than extreme left-wing ones. It has been suggested that this is due to the extreme right being seen as corrigible while the extreme left are regarded as incorrigible. Thus, because the extreme left are seen as targeting the heart of the German political system while the extreme right is not, this tends to result in a reduced response to extreme right-wing terrorism. In addition, far-right terrorism was at times dubiously regarded as a form of terrorism by the security services, as it did not seem to have self-explanatory political statements nor were any official announcements made by far-right groups explaining the act. For example, a house burning of Turkish immigrants was initially blamed on organized crime and was only later determined to have been perpetrated by extreme right-wing groups, leading officials to doubt it was a form of terrorism as it did not seem to have any broader political goals beyond the killing itself. A number of books and films address this topic.